Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of Primetime Newscast in the English language on Canal the International. I'm called Maureen Z. It's exactly 6:15 at Top Stories. The third wave of COVID-19 cases is fast spreading in Cameroon. In just 15 days, 15 persons have died with 1,250 confirmed cases. The government is disturbed, especially as Cameroonians have abandoned government measures. The disturbing figures are coming up few days to resumption of another school year. Another priest has been abducted in Mamfe in the southwest region of Cameroon. His Lordship Julius Agbotogo, the Vicar General of the Diocese, was abducted on August 30 by the same persons who identified themselves as separatist fighters. They are demanding a sum of 20 million francs CFA as a ransom. And after his carpet crossing and his meteoric rise as a new chair of the Alliance of Progressive Forces, Cyril Sambaka is already facing criticism from dissidents of APF party. Those are major stories. The details right ahead. The third wave of COVID-19 cases is fast spreading in Cameroon. Statistics show that in just 15 days, 15 persons have died and 1,250 others confirmed positive. This is happening few days to school resumption and at a time when Cameroonians have abandoned government barrier measures. As we hear the following story with Beatrice Ngamu.
The sign of a new, more deadly wave of the COVID-19 pandemic making an announcement, slowly but steadily. New contamination from 82,605 to 83,555 and 15 deaths in a space of 15 days, warning bearers. Information relayed by health newspaper Eco Sante this August the 30th. 1,250 new infected cases. That is from August the 10th to the 25th. At the Yaoundé Public Health Emergency Center, the new increase also confirmed, especially as a one-time stable situation is now changing. All still falls back on the need to take the vaccination. The arrival of the third variant is sure, but the proportion still unknown.
It is a little bit early to define that, for there is no need for a genomic surveillance system, which will be in place in weeks to come, to know the variant in circulation in our country.
The uncertainty seems that makes many Cameroonians indifferent to vaccination. Out of about 1,050,650 doses of Sinopharm, AstraZeneca, Johnson & Johnson vaccines in the country, only 430,000 doses has been administered. This far, the advantages notwithstanding.
Ça permet de réduire le nombre de cas, le nombre de décès.
It helps reduce the number of cases and death, helps serious forms, the presence of the new variants in circulation, and which affects the youths mostly. Important for all to be careful, vigilant, faithful, protecting yourselves and loved ones.
Pour se protéger et protéger nos proches.
School is resuming next week. The classrooms, school gates, like streets, will be congested, fatal opportunity for things to go out of proportion. So too during the upcoming AFCON. Time for action is now, and it is the responsibility of all.
And the Diocese of Mamfe has announced the abduction of his Lordship Julius Agbotogo, the Vicar General of the diocese that is in Mamfe in the southwest region of Cameroon. A release made public this August 30, 2021 says his Lordship Julius Agbotogo had spent the weekend at Kukumbuma for a pastoral visitation and the inauguration of the presbytery of the parish, and returns at about a few minutes after 6 p.m. That was when some young men who allegedly identified themselves as separatists CFA ransom. The church has decried the seemingly incessant attack on the church in general and that of Manfi in particular, while calling on their stakeholders of the ongoing conflict to kindly handle the church. We'll come back to that in a subsequent editions of the news. Now, after his carpet crossing and his meteoric rise as the new chair of the Alliance of Progressive Forces, Cyril Sambaka is already facing criticism from dissidents. APF Kejin Henry Atembe tells us more.
The former vice chair of the Cameroon Democratic Union, Cyril Sambaka, has joined the caucus of the Alliance of Progressive Movement, APF. Sambaka's carpet crossing and his immediate rise to the helm of his new political sheet has spilled a lot of ink and comments within Cameroon's political circles. Sambaka was elected during the party's Congress last weekend in Yaoundé. Despite being acclaimed by many, a faction of dissidents are already challenging Sambaka's meteoric rise as the head of the Alliance of Progressive Forces. However, Cyril Sambaka justifies by saying his election does not suffer from any illegality. Cyril Sambaka resigned from Cameroon's Democratic Union, the CDU of Dr. Adamu Ndamjoya, in September 2020 after 30 years of militancy. Sambaka's departure from the UDC came on the heels of Ndamjoya's demise after he complained that there was manipulation of the party text to knock him out of the race to replace Dr. Ndamjoya at the head of the party.
Now, investigations have been opened to track down suspects of a murder case this morning at the Bona Musadi neighborhood in Cameroon's economic city Douala. The man in his 60s was discovered dead in a culvert as he went out for his usual morning sports routine. Regina Leketandang tells us more.
Excruciating pain, disbelief and in denial. A wife in shock after her husband was found dead this Monday morning in a culvert in Bona Musadi Douala. According to report, the deceased, whose name we got as Ndop Sub Dominic, was 61-year-old and left the house this morning for his usual sports routine at the public sports complex Pakovita in Bona Musadi. His body, with fresh blood stains, was only later discovered in this culvert, raising questions of a possible murder case.
Quand on observe le corps, on ne peut forcément pas dire que c'est l'accident.
When you look at the corpse, it is clear it was a murder case and not an accident. His hands are stuck in his pocket and his face is covered with blood.
Donc ça suscite une ouverture d'enquête.
Some people say it is cause settling. Others say it is an accident. We can't say for sure what happened. The wife first of all came to Pakovita to find out about her husband who went for sports, only to learn her husband was lying dead in the culvert.
A suspect specialized in impersonating top government officials has been arrested and is currently being detained at the Delegation General for National Security in Yaoundé. Reports hold the suspect abandoned his building project, his building profession, and embarked on cyber crimes and scamming. Heisencha has the rest of the story.
Cameroon's ambassador to France, the Director of Civil Cabinet at the Presidency of the Republic, the Minister Delegates at the Presidency in charge of Defense, and many of such heavy titles brandished by these supposed scammers to extort fabulous sums of money from Cameroonians. His modus operandi acting as the close collaborator of the head of state.
He said that the head of state asked me to call you, and because the head of state is satisfied for your work to be received by the head of state, you must pay your flight ticket.
One of the victims of his criminal act is the South Regional Pedagogic Inspector of Secondary Education, who had pumped in some money into the ghost account in exchange for a fruitful deal. I had to give them something little for beer. I said I had no money. Days later, he called that the person piloting the file lost a child to COVID-19 and needed help. I sent 50,000 francs. 3 days later, he called again, saying that the documents at the ministry were advancing but needed a financial push. I sent another 50,000 francs. Following numerous complaints from countless victims, the Delegation General for National Security launched an intensive search for the culprit who was nabbed in Bopi Douala on August 20th this year. Upon his arrest, the suspected scammer had over 4 million CFA francs in his mobile money account. Presenting the bill card to the press this Monday in Yaoundé, the Delegation General for National Security urges Cameroonians to denounce such persons through the toll-free number 1500. Meantime, the ex-convict will be presented to the Ndokoti State Council for further legal proceedings.
Another man has drowned at a beach in Kribi in the south region of Cameroon. The man was not immediately identified with the population, keep blaming the council for not taking their responsibility in preventing such regular dirty details. In the following story with Gladys Ambo Ziba.
This is the lifeless body of the young man who drowned at the beach in Kribi in the Ocean Division, south region of Cameroon. The man, apparently from the far north region, was retrieved from the water on August 29, 2021. He was not immediately identified. For the moment, we don't have any information concerning the deceased. We are trying to investigate if anyone can identify him. Reports say, in spite of the indicative flags set up at the Copacabana beach and regular sensitization, people who visit the area do not respect the instructions. As a result, there is not a week that goes by without a drown case recorded. I don't want to say it is a ritual or an old habit. We register deaths here all the time, especially those who come to spend holidays in Kribi and decide to visit the beach. We have been sensitizing these people, but some don't respect the instructions. I want to believe that they all think they are rather in a swimming pool. I educate people here for free. In spite of this regular sensitization, council officials are still being blamed for the increasing rate of deaths on the beaches. It is said these council officials are putting no efforts in ensuring the security of tourists.
The importance of traffic controls in today's society cannot be overemphasized. This explains why the Douala City Council has trained some traffic controllers that will help municipal police in controlling traffic during rush hours. Details with our intern Sherifa.
This is the first wave of traffic and road safety ambassador trained in 4 days. Their role is to monitor road traffic and fight uncivil acts. They were given certificates which proved their effective training, which was organized by the city mayor of Douala. The occasion took place at the Douala 4 Council on the 27th August 2021.
It is important to maintain people or our police element on the field in order to bring people to adopt new ways to handle new how do you call it new habits. It is important because all is a matter of habit, and we should bring people to adopt new habits when they are on the roads. That is the aim of this training.
The municipal police, overwhelmed by the expansion of urban disorder, a new curve to increase the presence in the center of resistance.
It is a feeling. It is a satisfaction feeling. We came for training. They select us, and we came for training. No, there was no concours going on. We just get the information through the council.
These ambassadors are called upon to put their achievements into public service, for disorder in the city of Douala seems stronger than any will.
And that was how we saw it in this edition of the newscast on Canal International. Thanks so much for watching. Coming up next is the brief with Buba and Gomna. We also have news in the French language with Ghislaine Alain Kanga at exactly this level of Senkan, that is 7:50. As for me, I'll be back tomorrow for another edition. Good night.